O Lothlorien, the winter comes, the bare and leafless day. The leaves are falling in the stream, the river flows away. O Lothlorien, too long have I dwelt upon this hither shore, and in a fading crown have twinned the golden eldor. Welcome to Tales of Ada, where we discuss and explore Middle-earth. Thank you for joining us on another Middle-earth video. Today we discuss the fair forest of Lothlorien. From its beginnings as a sylvan elven realm to its waning at the end of the Third Age. We will start at looking at the geography of Lothlorien and some of its general information. The word Lothlorien means Lorien of the blossom in a sindarin Quenya compound. Some of you might recognize that Lorien is a name frequently used when referring to the Valar, Irmo, and so in the Undying Lands there is also a place called Lorien, where the Valar go to rest, but for this video's sake I will be referring to Lothlorien when I speak of Lorien. I hope you are all ready to carry on with today's video. The forest of Lothlorien was found on the eastern side of the Misty Mountains, directly opposite to Khazad-dûm. During the Elder Days, most of was ruled by Nandor elves, and the forest stretched to the eaves of Fangorn Forest, but by the end of the Third Age the realm only encompassed a small area around the Celebrunt River. Two regions of Lothlorien were Knife and Igladil. The Knife was a part of land between the Celebrunt and the Anduin, and the Igladil was a part of the Knife. Igladil was the most populated part of the forest, and this is where the city of Caras-Galadhon was found. The before-mentioned city of Caras-Galadhon was the capital of Lothlorien and later the abiding place of Lord Celeborn and Lady Galadriel. Another place of note is Ciaran Amroth, a hill of great significance in two great lore stories. Now, having a basic understanding of the location and regions of Lothlorien, we will look at the history of the Golden Wood of Lothlorien. We will revisit Caras-Galadhon and Ciaran Amroth as they appear in the timeline. During the Years of the Trees, the elves awoke in the Bay of Cuiviénen. At this time, Orome the Hunter led the elves on a long march to Aman, which was to be their home. Along this march, some elves did not continue and broke from the main host near the Misty Mountains. These elves would be called the Nandor and would settle the nearby lands. Lothlorien was probably one of their scattered settlements in the area, and it would be known as Laurorindolian in the Sylvan tongue. The Sylvan elves were another name for the Nandor. After the War of Wrath and the sinking of Beleriand, many Noldor and Sindar refused the summons of the Valar and went east. Some of these Sindar was Amdir and his son Amroth, who had previously lived in Doriath. They established themselves in Lothlorien, and because Lothlorien had no prince, Amdir claimed the title of king. Many things would change due to the arrival of the Sindar. One of these changes would be the use of the Sindarin tongue, though some Nandor would still speak the Elven tongue. Later, Celeborn of the Sindar and Galadriel his wife would make contact with Lothlorien, and with their daughter Celebrian they would depart from Eregion to Lothlorien. During the War of the Elves and Sauron, Eregion was overrun, and the dwarfs of Khazad-dûm and the Galathrim, as the elves of Lothlorien were called, joined forces and aided Elrond as he escaped Eregion. Their forces were pushed back, however, but the elves and dwarfs escaped into Khazad-dûm. Later, when the last alliance of men and elves marched south, King Amdir and the Galathrim joined the alliance, whilst Gil-galad and Elendil were still preparing. Amdir and Oropher of Greenwood charged at the enemy without Gil-galad's command. What followed was a deadly battle costing the lives of many of the Sylvan elves, who were not well equipped. Oropher and Amdir were driven into the dead marshes, and there they were slaughtered. After the war, Thranduil led back only a third of the original host to Greenwood, and Amroth led his people back to Lothlorien, where, with his father dead, he became king. Amroth ruled for many years, and during his reign he fell in love with a sylvan elf, Nimrodel. Together, Amroth and Nimrodel attempted to travel to Valinor, for they were weary of the world, but during their journey to the west they were separated and neither was seen again. Nimrodel was likely lost in the White Mountains, but Amroth made it to the sea, but there he drowned, not wanting to leave Nimrodel when his ship was swept away. After the death of Amroth, Galadriel and Celeborn became the rulers of Lorien, but not as queen and king, but as lady and lord. Galadriel would receive Nenya, one of the Rings of Power. This ring's power would help maintain Lothlorien. Sometime before the Fellowship embarked on their travels, Aragorn Elessar came to Lothlorien. After a long journey, there he met Arwen, and they wandered through the Golden Wood. Then they came to Ciaran Amroth, and there they were betrothed. Later, when the Fellowship passed through Lorien, they would be led to Caras Galadhon by Haldir, and whilst in Lorien, Legolas would recite the tale of Amroth and Nimrodel to the Fellowship. At Caras Galadhon, the Fellowship would meet Celeborn and Galadriel, and would stay as guests for a while. Galadriel would show Frodo many things, and she would reveal Nenya to him. At their leaving, the Fellowship received many gifts from Galadriel, and they would all receive boats to take down the Anduin. After the leaving of the Fellowship, Lothlorien was attacked several times by Sauron's forces from Dol Guldur. All three attacks were repelled with relative ease thanks to the strength of Galadriel. After Sauron was defeated, the host of Lothlorien sailed across the river Anduin to attack Dol Guldur itself. With Galadriel's powers, Dol Guldur was destroyed. Galadriel emptied its pits, as Lúthien did to Tol Sirion in the First Age. Celeborn and Thranduil met soon after and discussed the boundaries of Greenwood, and so the southern parts of Greenwood were known as East Lorien from then on. In the Fourth Age, the elves departed west, but the last known mention of Lorien is when Arwen goes to Ciaran Amroth after the death of Aragorn, and there she fades from the world. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.